Okay, this one, we're back again. Hi there. Okay, this one here is a request video. And yes, I do request videos. If I like the titles and they make sense, I will actually do them. And this one here is, again, it's on twin flames. You've heard of those twin flame things, right? Twin flame people. All of those crazy twin flame people that do nutty things, and oh, they're just a wicked bunch, aren't they? Oh, I don't know what we're going to do with all these twin flames. Fix them, I hope. Anyways, somebody got a hold of me and asked, why is it when they have a twin flame connection that so many of them are reverting back to controlling the experience, one or both of them, as to how they see it unfolding. So we're going to call this one twin flames reverting to controlling their experience. And I'm going to try to explain this in this way. The idea here is when you're having these connections, okay, in the past, connections from my observation took place from the bottom and perhaps went up. What I mean by that is the basic connection that took place between people is boy meets girl, or whatever flavor or definition of connection. And they like each other, they date, somewhere along the line they may have a roll in the hay, play hide the wiener once or several times or even more than that. If they really like each other, they may want to get together on a permanent basis. And that's a relationship. And that relationship is based on belief systems about love, relationship, and sexuality. I just not new here. I've repeated this many times before. And what happens is in these higher vibrational connections labeled twin flame soulmates, you know, the labels are go on and on and on. It's almost like sometimes I think the labels have become like a prayer book, all right? If you don't have your prayer book of twin flames information and listening to what everybody, thinks they know about it, when in reality they don't, and the confusion, continues to go on. So in these connections, when you have a twin flame connection, you're into a very high dynamic of a connection. And in the twin flame connection, the connection, instead of beginning at the bottom, begins at the top and filters down, whereas the other way around starts at the bottom, as I said, and filters up. So you have a very high vibrational dynamic at that particular point. And what happens is you have that phase called the bubble of that, I so nicely coined some years ago. And people are euphoric and they're in that state for X amount of time or whatever, and I've explained that also. And then what happens is it has to come back down to a stable vibration again that can be maintained by the two of them. But in that stable vibration, what comes up is a lot of emotions and feelings contained within the emotional body that are restrictive to maintaining that particular higher vibration that they experience. And 9 times out of 10, what's happened is this. I'm hesitant to say this, but it's actually true, and I'm finding this to be more and more common in the twin flame connection that I've ever seen. And I'm going to tell you something, and some people are going to be a little annoyed with this. I've never seen so many control freaks when it comes to these twin flame connections. You have expectations and agendas, all right, a lot of you, that are totally unrealistic and all based on emotional belief systems about love, relationship, and sexuality. And you take total control of it. I don't know how many people that I've met over the years who, in spite of what you tell them in a twin flame connection, all right? And I can tell right away. I can tell right away when I counsel a person. And I'll tell them, look, you have to allow this connection to come together. You have to allow him to do what he needs to do. You have to allow her to do what she needs to do. And they say, oh, yes, and I'll tell them. They'll say, well, what can I do to help my twin flame? What you can do to help your twin flame is don't do anything to help him or her. Do everything you can to help yourself, because you're not Mr. Perfect and you're not Mrs. Perfect, neither one of you. I always hear stories from people who say, well, he's the one that's got the problem. Well, he's a drug addict, or he's an alcoholic, or he's a narcissist, and this, that, and other. I didn't even know what narcissist meant until I finally figured out what you were talking about was self-centered people. Okay, narcissist, I thought was somebody who had a colon problem. All right, my narcissist is sore. All right, something like that. I mean, these flashy words that some of you are using are just like, I don't know, where does this shit come from all the time? Whatever happened to good old self-centered people? Control freaks, that kind of stuff. But the one thing that I've noticed is, because people are control freaks when it comes to a twin flame connection, it's not really their fault. It's because that's what they've been taught, all right? They've been taught to get control of their life, to get a handle on their life, to do things for themselves, all right? Every one of us on this planet, I don't care how spiritual we are, have some degree of control freakness left in us still. I hear it all the time when I'm going in Facebook groups, and I'm a member of a lot of groups, and I go in and I don't say anything. I just go in and I kind of read what's going on, just kind of get the vibes and kind of the feel of the group. And I can tell you that the majority of people in Facebook groups are control freaks when it comes to the twin flame connection. And they have this attitude not because it's their fault, it's because what they believe, because when they come down and they've experienced this wonderful connection with this other person, hopefully going two ways, is immediately the control freak part of them comes out, and they create what I call the hidden agenda. And the hidden agenda doesn't matter what you say to them, all right? Even if you say, allow it to happen, all right? And understand that you and this other person did not bring this connection together. Some other source, power, divine, whatever, brought the two of you together. But the moment it does, suddenly one or both of you want to take over of it, and how it's going to manifest, and this is when it turns into a mess, all right? This is where it gets messy. And I don't know, many times when I've told people to stop doing that, I can tell right away, just by the way they're talking, that they still, in the back of their mind, they still have that hidden agenda in there, that they want him or her to do what they want to do in the way they want to do it. And this is why so many people have been so disappointed and so disillusioned with the twin flame phenomena, and why it doesn't happen for them. And then they have to go through the pattern of sitting in Facebook groups and moaning and moaning and moaning and moaning for months on end, until they finally get it, that they need to let it go, that it was probably just a growth spurt for them that they were going through, and another piece of the old relationship template has fallen to the wayside. And as long as they keep doing this, that pattern is going to keep continuing with them as they go along. So when you try to control a twin flame connection in any way, shape, or form, you find yourself setting yourself up for additional experiences that you'll draw to yourself, not necessarily through the other person, but in your daily adventures in your daily life that will draw toward you. Could be involved with another person, or some kind of event may happen into your life that will hit a button, and it will be a control thing with you that you have to let go of. I think, the topic of narcissist has become, kind of worn out in some of the Facebook groups that I see anyway. And I think the issue that needs to be addressed right now is controlism, all right? Because it's a very bad disease, and it's very rampant in the twin flame community. And I think some of the ones that are worst at it are the ones who have actually created the groups themselves, because boy, do they want to have control of their groups. Man, I can tell you the control freaks that are the leaders or the forefront people in regards to twin flame groups, it's amazing. I mean, you say the wrong line or the wrong thing or put in some information that they don't agree with, man, you're gone like history. All right. I mean, even if you say it nicely, and even if you say it in a way that they don't like it or it doesn't fit with them, all right, you're gone out of that Facebook group. And I see this in the twin flame community. The turnover in some of these groups is amazing. And I noticed another commodity too here that's really it's kind of funny to watch it. As long as you're in perfect agreement with them, all right, you're wonderful, all right. As long as you follow the cattle through the hole in the fence and eat the grass on the same side of the fence that they are, you are in that situation. And the real sad part of this is what happens is the people that get involved in these types of situations perpetuate belief systems based on control. And I see this on YouTube also, just to bring this up as a topic. I see this up on YouTube with a lot of twin flame videos too. They are a means to control the audience of the person who's facilitating the YouTube video, all right? And I notice this tendency also, the control issues that are going on in this particular situation. That's the reason why I take great pains to just be me. And actually, I take great pains to actually piss people off, all right, by the way I talk, because I'm not worried about people pleasing and I'm not concerned about being popular. When you have an issue about you want to be popular and you want to be liked by people, you are a control freak. You really are. And this is one of the big issues that's going on right now in the twin flame community and with twin flames themselves. One wants to control the other and they want that person to do what they want them to do because they don't think what they're doing is good for them. All right, now here you have another person saying that I don't think what you're doing is good for you. Say that, okay? I don't think what you're doing is good for you. Who the hell do you think you are to say that to another person? I don't give a shit if you love them to death. You have no right to tell another person that you don't think what they're doing is good for them. That's their choice and decision. If they want to drown themselves, that's their decision. All right? At a soul level. That's what they want to do. They're going to do it. Whatever. You don't have the right to tell that person that. You have the right to tell you that. You have the right to say, well, I have to stop doing this because it's killing me. All right? So when you're doing this, you are exercising control over that other person in some way, shape, or form. And I'm going to tell you something else that may not sit well with a lot of the people in the spiritual community. By nature, the people on this planet, we're all predators. All right? You see this every day in every way, and I see it in spiritual groups all of the time. People are preying upon other people through control and belief systems that are being downloaded. All right? People go into some of these groups and communicate with each other like they're predators, and they're actually wanting to control that individual right from day one. Why not, when you're in a twin flame connection, just allow it to take place, all right? And then if it's not going in a fashion that's suitable to you, find somebody who's not going to pussyfoot through the tulips and baby you and pamper you, who's going to tell it to you right up front and is going to so respect you as an individual and not treat you like an idiot, and have them tell you what it is necessary that you need to take a look at to do. And in most of the cases with the twin flame connections, what I see going on is control. Control, control, control. It's habitual in all of us. We're brainwashed with it every day. Every time you look at an advertisement, you'll see this thing said, take control of your life. Take control of your body. Take control of this. Take control of that. Blah, blah, blah. Take control, take control, take control. It goes on and on and on. And the one thing that none of us have is control in a twin flame connection or in a twin flame union, if you want to call it that. Because when we do that, We have given up our sense of freedom. In order for a twin flame connection or a twin flame union to work, it must have the freedom, and I emphasize that point, it must have the freedom to evolve, to grow on its own. It doesn't need you or the other person saying it needs to go this way or it needs to go that way or I want this and I want that. Neither one of you are in control of it. If there's one thing that I've learned that. You must allow it to take place. You must allow and understand that it's a process that you're going through and it's going to continue as a pattern, as an attraction, person after person, place after place, situation after situation, until you get it right, until you give up the control of the situation and wanting to control the other person. And just because it's a twin flame connection, you think that you should have it, all right? Because somebody told you it's a twin flame connection, therefore it's your right to have that connection. Let me inform you, all of you wonderful people out there. There isn't any one of you that's going to have a twin flame connection because it's your birthright. You're going to have a twin flame connection because you earned it. All right. And in order to earn it, you're going to go through some tough personal facing yourself and your issues. And we all have them. No one in a twin flame connection, no matter how flagrant the issues are and apparent that they might be, it's on both sides. It may not be as obvious in the one as it is in the other, but I'll tell you this. All twin flame connections are equal. All right? You can't have the dynamic energy that's created between the two unless the dynamics, the ingredients, the components, the synchronicities, the issues, the functional, dysfunctional are all in equal harmony, but they will manifest in a different way or a different form, but they will be equal. So one is no better than the other. Am I making some sense here to you? So some of us in our twin flame connections need to come down off our high horses. And just because, the supposed person that's a twin flame is a narcissist, well, why do you have a narcissist in your life? Why did you attract that person in the first place? Because there's some component in you that is vibratory equal to attracting that to you. But you see it as the narcissist being the asshole of the problem. But that attraction is there for you because you brought it toward you. Why? Because there's something of equal vibrational pattern within you. And that doesn't come easy for a lot of people to swallow within themselves. All right? That takes self-awareness, because the responsibility of a controller is they will always blame the other person for the problem. They are never the problem. It's the narcissist that's the problem. They aren't the problem. They are the controller. The controller will always attract to itself that which is required to balance it out. You see, when giving twin flame information, I'm not here to pamper anyone. And I will tell you what a lot of the other so-called experts won't tell you. And I'll say to you what a lot of the others won't say to you. Because I know what I'm talking about. And I've got hundreds of hours of experience in listening to some of the bullshit that some of these twin flames have tried to get me to swallow when they're explaining to me about the problems they're having with the him or her and the twin flame connection. You see. So if you can handle the truth about your twin flame connection, if you can handle some things that you may not like that I say, I'm probably your go-to guy. But if you're not at that point where you're ready to take a really good look at you and stop blaming the other person, don't come to me. There's lots of others out there who will tell you all of the wonderful flowery things that you need to hear to keep you going in the direction. But one thing I do know how to get a twin flame connection to work, because I know the mechanics of it. And we have a control freak issue going on with a lot of people right now. And you don't have the freedom, you or him or her or whatever, to express the twin flame connection in its true and pure form. A unified field of energy being expressed by two people from the male and the female dynamic, that takes effort. And you don't get it until you earn it. Anyone out there can call themselves twin flames. Anyone can meet someone and call themselves a twin flame. But I will tell you something you don't know. There are very few twin flames who have earned it and can express in a unified field of energy. We have a lot of twin flames out there who are talkabees. All they do is talk about it. They think about it. And they like to call themselves twin flames. But they're nowhere even remotely close to having earned the connection. Call it twin flames, call it soulmates, call it whatever you want, until you go through the dynamics of self-awareness, self-annihilation of your ego to a point, self-annihilation of your control freakism, all right, and acceptance that if the other person has a dynamic, something going on with them, and you've attracted them to you, look for the dynamic something in you that brought that person to you in the first place, and then you will discover self. This takes a person who needs to be awakened, needs to want to grow, and is willing to face the only true thing they needed to face, which was themselves, right from day one. The twin flame dynamics is a beautiful opportunity. It's a wonderful experience to go through, but you will earn it. Call it what you want, but you will earn it as you go along. It's not for the faint of heart, and it is not for those people who just want to be called the twin flame, who just like to sit in a group and gossip poppy, or do tarot cards and teapots and all that bullshit. And on that note, I'm happy. You be happy. And the next time you want to talk about a narcissist and say someone's a narcissist, take a look at your own ass. You might learn something. Catch y'all later.